So we're in 1835 with this story. Um, when you think about what's been happening today, contemporarily, do you draw any parallels with regard to some of the social dynamics back then, particularly in this story, and what's been happening today uh, in the past couple of years, maybe? And if you do, did you draw from some of the things that have been happening, particularly in this country, to put just a little bit of pointers in the story itself?
Well, there's a number of people in the book who are real people from that period. And this person, Beriah Green, is not a very big character. He's mentioned a few times. But I was interested in him because he got fired for his abolitionism, or he was asked to leave the Western Reserve College, and he ended up teaching at the Oneida Institute of Science and Industry in the next town over from Utica, Whitesboro. And he was just a really fiery abolitionist. And the reason he was asked to leave is he delivered these 4 sermons, and they weren't just about the Bible, they were really about abolition and slavery. And one of the things that really struck me was that he says that if you see a great wrong, you must work to right it, and to not be practical. You see a great wrong, you must work to right it. And that really stuck with me, especially in our society now. I think one of the great wrongs that we all need to work on, especially people of European descent, is, there's overt racism, which is like the white nationalists. There's institutionalized racism, which is the system. But then there's internalized racism. Like, this is something that I think everybody who has seen the media in this country, who has watched the news, who sees how people are treated, sees how people are represented, they've seen, if they're my age especially, they've seen thousands and thousands and thousands of images. And those imprint in your brain. And sometimes you may not understand this internalized racism and what kind of emotions it causes. Isabel Wilkerson just wrote in the book Caste that she was looking at this study, and they would show people like these old yearbook photos of African American men, and they were wearing monitors, and all of the little things about fear would be rising up just from a picture, an old picture in a yearbook of some, guy who was in high school.
All right. So
There's a lot going on that is just on almost a
Subconscious?
cellular level, subconscious, that people don't pay attention to. And I think that is part of what drives a certain amount of apathy toward what is happening in the United States in terms of how African American people are treated, either by the police or by the medical establishment, or a one-to-one basis of little small, like, you scare me, I'm going to call the cops because you say you're bird watching, but I know that can't be true.
You're right.
And so I think that the characters in the book had to go through a journey of recognizing some of that internalized racism that they had. But it's also something that a lot of people now should take a look at. I mean, I really want this book to be about somebody who discovers activism, somebody who discovers their power, and in smaller ways and larger ways, and becomes somebody who sees a great wrong and decides that they want to do something to right it.
Right, I can imagine that most people, I would hope most people, would root for the character that summons the courage to right a wrong when they see it.